Sorry, I by saying that I have a minute to learn Hadras I finish, but I'll be happy. But see, the Rebbe has none.
Wow, we're lucky.
Yeah,
Otherwise, we'd be sitting here till 11 o'clock.
I challenge accepted. So I started the Mishnah. So what's odd is that the last paragraph is called Bais Aliyah, the house and house above it. And my chiddush to that is that like that's mamash a mashal for dear b'chachin. Hashem is Aliyah, and we're the bias, and our job is to build the bias for the Shekhinah to rest. So go by this. She thinking is Zolkas. So the two gardens next to each other. Time, and there's a bunch of vegetables between them. So essentially, it's a sort of a picture of a mountain, a garden, a garden, the vegetables in the garden. So who owns that? Emir Shal Elyon in the top because the higher garden, all the water flows to the bottom. So if the chiyus from if the life force from that gives the vegetables nutrients comes from top, it's really good on top.
The nutrients left?
The rainwater comes from the higher garden, right? I assume I'm not a farmer. I'm not from real Emirates Shabbat because the Gemara will explain later that the lower field, because the roots are the lower, goes off the Gej. If you see there's also a lot of Gej comes from tree. It's also on the Gemara. It's not only in the Lavish. I remember Mayor. So now the question is like this: who owns the earth? So if the owner of the upper garden wants his earth to be taken away and Kanyar, there would be no vegetables there because the second you remove the soil, that's where all the nutrients are. Amir says he means that if the owner of the lower field wants to fill his garden with earth, so that it'll be the same level as the upper garden, and Kanyar will be the vegetables because essentially I guess I'm assuming they're so close to one another that the second guy has the ability to ruin the other guy's thing. This is why in America they say great fences make great neighbors. I'm a mayor. Since each can block one another, we actually see where the vegetables draw the nourishment from, and that determines the ownership. Essentially, because as they say when it comes to nuclear war, called mutually assured destruction. He too, mamash Shabbat in the Mishnah. There's mutually assured destruction. Each garden can hurt one another, and therefore, um, we just look up Pasha where the Yerakim get the nutrients from. That's what the nutrients. I remember Shimon comes and finds the pshara. Call or just a third opinion. Where the owner can reach down and reach. It says, it says, whatever the owner on top cannot grab is the owner of the lower garden. Now, what exactly is the machlekes remain Rita? I'm Rava, it talks about the vegetables' roots. Everyone agrees that the roots belong to the upper garden because again, I think it's based on the rainwater. Because there they draw nutrients from the roots from the upper garden. They're really arguing about the leaves, the foliage. You look at the leaves, basar its roots, and therefore, just as the roots of the Elyon in the upper garden, so too the owner of the leaves go by the upper garden. Rita argues, Rita says no. You see the trunk, you see the leaves as two separate entities. And there's also the home Abichas Gabi also by Tomai, but also Thomas like about right? Like Toma and by Einstein. This is getting late. Vazel Tamay. And this is consistent with a similar argument they've had in different places. The Tanya real into Brisa. If a shoot sprouts out from a tree trunk or its roots, they belong to the land of they belong to the owner of the land because the sprouts come from the land. That's the land. That's the owner of the land. If a shoot sprouts out from the tree's trunks or roots, with trunk or roots. Sorry. Yeah, so I said it's like if a shoot comes out of a tree's trunks or roots, they're the owner of the land. That's the very mayor. Again, you go back to the roots. Rita says, if it comes out of a trunk, Shabbat Elon, they belong to the owner of the tree. Mishwashim, and shoot, Mishabbat Karka, it belongs to the land. We're almost there. But then, Nami Gabi Arla, Gabi Haikagab. We have another Brisa, Gabi Arla, a similar argument. Elon, she gets a a shoot that sprouts out from a trunk or roots of a tree. Chayv Arla, it's Chayv Arla. They very rare because they say Arla is dafka by trees. The halacha dafka by elabis. Rita says when it gets a potter, if you're gash, no, if it sprouts out from the trunk, it's potter. It's considered separate from the tree. But if only if a shoot comes out of the roots, which is much closer to the ground, then it's Chayv and Arla. Then we have the Gemara now explains a third aspect to the Machlekes, or a third like really why we need to bring both these cases. It's really we need both cases to establish each rabbi's opinion. The issue is if we talk about say a little tree about Basa Naifi or not Basa Naifi, but Rita they hear you say by Rebuta, who says that a shoot growing from the trunk is considered part of the tree. Because we're talking about my mammon, that about Gabi Arlo the Israel. So this is the biggest side in Gemara. There's issues of civil stuff and Israel like Master Mutter stuff like that. So theoretically, you can say that there's certain arguments are adjudicated by mammon, but not by Israel. I'm concerned the rabbi is testing me on this on afterwards. It's very good.
very good.
Gabi Arla, the surah. So by Gabi Arla, the surah, but by matters of Arla, which talks about Isser, there's more grounds for Chumrah, and therefore, Amy mighty Meir will say that Rabbi Yehuda agrees with Meir that a shoot that grows out of a tree's trunk is considered a new tree, and therefore it's Chayv and Arla. Because again, we're extending the Isser of Arla onto things that are more beyond the general scope of Isser Arla. It's my Baha. We're talking about a case in the case. If we're saying only the case of Arla, there we're saying that Meir says that shoot which grows out of a trunk is considered in the tree, therefore it's considered Arla. In the case of the Mishnah, when we're dealing with questions of ownership and questions of money. In that case, we'll say that Meir agrees with the Yehuda who says that a shoot growing out of a tree's trunk is not considered a new tree. Therefore, you need a case both in Mammon and in Isser. Seriously, fine. One more quote from the Mishnah. Amar B'Shimon. So again, the B'Shimon is the third opinion. Where any vegetables that the owner of a top garden can reach with his hand and take your hurts. I made the big Rabbi. They said in the house of in the basement of Rabbi. Therefore, that's only if he doesn't reach out to reach them. I mean, we own the guys who have shtickle grubby hands. They reach out more, like the guy the kiddush who grabs more than his hand can handle. That guy. Meaning, it's the only thing that you can reach within the natural hand. How exactly do we define this thing? Why Rav Anan ve'item of Rav Anan, some say Rav Yirmiyah asks. Clarifies. If the owner of the upper garden can reach the leaves but not reach its roots, or if it can reach the roots but not reach the foliage, the leaves, what's the then? Does it mean if I can reach the top of the tree but not the bottom of the tree, am I allowed to say if my hand extends like Bas Power to reach the entire thing? Thank you. What's interesting is that the Gemara ends and in some ways diametrically opposed to the beginning of the Masechta. The beginning of the Masechta begins with an argument. Like this. Here, in a way, the Gemara ends in a very shalom-tika manner, which is my chiddush. That you always have to connect the beginning and end of the Masechta thing. Yeah. However, Ephraim Safra Talmid Asher Rish Lakish Rish Lakish. Ephraim Safra, the Talmud of Rish Lakish, said in the name of Rish Lakish, who remember is about Tshuva. However, it's not clear if he's about Tshuva or he's from one of there, came back again. Halakha of Shimon. He said, Halakha of Shimon. Amur married the Shavar Malka. They said the name of Shavar Malka, and the Shavar Malka is, I think she was he's a king. Isn't Shavar Malka the person has a sukkah? That's someone else.
That was Helen, yeah.
Oh yeah, Helen. If Shimon said, if Shimon said to King Shapur, Apirian Nimti Shimon, we extend our graciousness to Shimon. And the Hanal says that it's talking about pomegranate, that the king, essentially, there should be more Chamid like Reb Shimon. I always joke that learning himself is easier than saying the Hadrons. Hadron himself, I believe it's looking at himself. حاجة بس أخذ بمسيح حاجة لا تمام مسافة بمسيح بتنوع لا نشل من نخل مسافة بمسيح ولا تسلم الآن لا بقى ما هذه لا بقى مدرسي يرسم خداع خداع المسيح شتى ثلاثة ونسني ولا بقى مسيح مسيح إيمانه ولا قبل خلينا بابا 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 نحن بابا أخذ بابا أبا ماري بابا رفع بابا رفع بابا بسخ بابا هذا بابا دار بابا هذا سيسخ فينا أبغى بيسو فينا تسني لتسني أبغى بيسو كل ذي شوق ولا تسخ بسمع ما يبي يخاف مني بس تسخ يلم هي ليف يلي بسمن بكذا لما ليش لا أشخاص بكذا كيفن في يسني فقط هذني لمن ده كذا آمين صلى الله عليه ما دم نحن وفنقنا الدنيا هنا بسنة شسمت الخلقين المجلس في بيس محمدوش وسمت الخلقين المجلس كويس شنو أنا مشكين فيه مشكين أنا مشكين من ضد السر ضد السر فيه مشكين من ضد المقتل أنا ميل فيه أنا ميل بكاب الصغر هي ما ميل بين المقتل أنا رسم هي رسم أنا رسم طيب بابا هي رسم شخص لما بخاطر لهم يريد من شخص عشان ده مرمى الله يسوع زي بيهم بني يفتح يرسم مفنغة نايل هي بشيء كشمش إذا كان يساهم مثلا مسيا كين خاطرين الهاستيل السخص سفر مثلا سايمم ضلهم ضد شمال أساس كان أسقط في سماوات السحابة بس خص قال تنايم بمرم سمودي خم يعمل ذي زاري شغال يسمى شغال ترى مفي زاري وفي زاري أضاء أيضا بس سايم بس علاقتها هنخا أيسخ بشخبها تشمع الله بكتسا هي ستيسخا كبير يجيب مخا بيسيبوا الله شخص خيم أيخم بيمنا بسوا أشبه كبد أدنى أي سلامتين أدنى يبرخ سما بشلهم the story is in the notes, right? That's what he says. Oh, thanks, Al. No, so it's a nice catch. That's شوية بقى. دي حصل هذا الثلاثة وخيوصل سعي أصلا أي هم حركة يشلون والله فالله يخلي دجاجة ما كان طبعا ونهار طبعا طبعا دي كانت أصلا مو كشاف منهم وفين يسمع كان كان بيشكل أمين أو بين وقت أنا كنت سأقول أمين ليش من زمان راح والله صح مش راح اسمه بس هو ما بيقص صلاة ليك بتكبر أمين ما كنت أمين وبدأ صلى الله طبعا ده السنة في عشر دقائق دي حاول يصبر سريع لازم هو في الموضوع كده بس بروح على الإمكانيات يمكن فقط يمكن بقول مش معي ليش أنا رابط مش مفقود كويس أمين أمين لخايم Now we will shoot some that you've got Hashem. It's right. You got one back. Yeah. I would throw one something. Next year. Thank you. That's good in the set. You know, if you did